Hi and welcome to episode 2 of The Journey. Here's what's coming up. So I'm back down the pit again. I've gone back round to the exact same peg as I was fishing last week. I haven't seen any fish since I arrived, so what I've done is I've got the rods ready, tied on the solid bags, glugged them up, got them how I really like them, and chucked them back onto the same spots as where I was catching from last week. And it didn't take too long for the first bite. A great start to the session, and on arrival I spoke to the bailiff and he said that he'd been fishing really slow of late, so that was a great result to get one so early. I redid that rod, got it back out onto the spot, and before I knew it the other rod then melted off and I was in again. So within the first hour of fishing, I've had 2 bites and landed 2 carp. I'm well over the moon with how this session has already gone. But what happened next just absolutely blew me away. I'm recording, Harley, if you want to pick it up, mate.
You're recording where?
what a result. And at £31 and 12 ounces is a new personal best. I'm absolutely blown away. I can't describe how I'm feeling. I'm absolutely buzzing. And to think a week ago, I broke my personal best with a £31 and 1 ounce carp. A week later, I've caught another one. Like I said, I'm absolutely buzzing. What I will say is this fish didn't fight loads. It didn't give it loads out there. When it got a bit closer in, it took some line, but it was pretty well behaved coming in, which I'm quite grateful for. And once it was in the net, I was like, wow. And I thought it was the same fish, but they are totally different. And this one is a named fish that goes by the name of Rodney, and I'm just absolutely over the moon to have caught it. Now, I think it's a good time for me to cover how I tie my solid bags and how I use them. So here's how I tie my solid bags. What you will need is your solid bag rig of choice, an inline lead, and of course solid bags. I thread my main line through the inline lead. I don't use any stems or anything else. I feel this is the safest way. So if I was to get cut off or lose a fish, I know that everything will just drop off. Next, I want to attach the rig to the main line, and I do this by using a blood knot. I usually do about 7 turns for the blood knot. I then wet the knot before tying it down tightly. And once that's tied down tightly, I trim off any tag ends. Next, I insert the swivel of the rig into the inline lead to secure it into place. And now the rig is ready to go into the solid bag. Next, take out your solid bag, and I use the Fox solid bag system to help me fill up the solid bag with pellet. I add a little bit of pellet into the bottom of the bag before putting the rig in, and then when I put the rig in, I push down the hook bait with the lead, making sure it's down at the bottom. I then fill the bag with more pellet, about halfway or just over, and using the lead I can push this down to make sure it's all tight and bedded down into the bag. I cover the lead with some more pellet. Removing the system out of the way, the bag is now ready to be tied. So with the bag ready to be tied, what I do next is I move the main line to one side, and I take a pair of scissors, and what I do next is I cut down the middle of the PVA bag down to where the lead and the pellet ends, ready to be tied up. Using the loose ends of the PVA, I tie an overhand knot and tie this down really tightly. I then repeat this process to make sure everything is set into place, and I trim off the tag ends. Next, I tuck in all the corners of the bag, moistening them and securing them, and this makes the bag more aerodynamic for when you want to cast it out into the lake. The solid bag is now ready to rock and roll, but what I like to do next is inject some bait glug into the solid bag using a baiting syringe. Also like to dip the hook bait and the hook link into the glug as well before putting it into the solid bag, and you can also even dip the whole bag into your glug, adding extra attraction. And here's how that solid bag should look once it's been cast out, hit the bottom and dissolved. Your hook bait is sitting proud amongst a group of pellet, ready for a carp to come down and take it. That's how I tie my solid bags. It's a little bit different to the normal, but for me it's been working and I'm super confident in it. Solid bags. I'm absolutely obsessed with solid bags at the minute. They've been catching me so many fish, and what I do, my approach is I look for showing fish and I put a solid bag out to where I see those showing fish, and 9 times out of 10 I'm getting bites. Now that doesn't mean to say that by not putting any bait out or spomming or whatever doesn't work. I always trickle in a little bit of bait in the margins. That's caught me some bonus fish before, but I just feel like a solid bag in the right place at the right time will get you a bite rather than chucking a load of bait out there. I fish short sessions. I'm literally doing 6 to 8 hour sessions, and for me, I haven't got time to put loads of bait out and sit over it. I'm literally going by what I can see out in the lake, and if I don't see anything show, I'll go to a likely area, an area that I've fished before, and I'll put a solid bag out there, and it works for me. Yeah, it's completely changed my fishing. I mean, the last couple of years have predominantly been solid bag fishing, and I would take it anywhere. I would use a solid bag anywhere. As for this session, I continued to get bites from those spots. Check this out for an angry scaly carp. It gave up a great fight, and once again its downfall was the solid bags. I have absolutely 100% confidence in this approach, and the rig that I'm using is just nailing them. Back it goes into the pit. Well, with it absolutely pissing it down with rain, of course I got another bite. But check out this cracking little common, and what hard fighting little fish it was. I didn't mind getting wet for it, and what a great way to end the session. Well, after that hard fighting little common, the bites had completely dried up and nothing else was happening, so it was time to get the rods in and pack up. So I think now is a good time to end this episode. If you're still watching, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm really passionate about my fishing and I just love making these little videos and, you know, doing little different bits and pieces. I love rewatching them for myself. I'm not here to make any money out of it. I just enjoy doing it. So hopefully as the videos go on, they'll get better and hopefully more personal best. That would be ideal, wouldn't it? But yeah, as for this episode, it is over and out.